So another RPG is on the horizon and by far one of my favorites to play so far. The Citadel is under attack and by the Faceless, and it's up to you to fix the cursed lands. Welcome to Frozen Flame. Now it's your host ChaosDTV here at Chaotic Inc. And if you're new here to the channel and love nerding out about RPGs, then we showcase news, guides, and gameplays of all subcategories of the RPG genre. If that is something you like, then definitely subscribe to the channel for more. So let's talk about what exactly is Frozen Flame. Now, Frozen Flame is essentially a survival RPG that was developed by Dreamside Interactive and is set in the world of Arcana, which was ruled by dragons in the past. It has now been captured by this entity by the name of the Faceless, and he basically has cursed the entire lands, and now it's up to you as the protagonist to basically take care of that said problem while fixing the world. So your entire goal is essentially to gain enough power, resources, and have a bunch of allies to take the fight to the Citadel, defeat the Faceless, and stop the curse from spreading across the land. Now let's talk about the gameplay and what you guys to expect when playing Frozen Flame. Now keep in mind this game is entirely fully a survival RPG, but I feel like there is a action bit of it because a lot of the gameplay is revolving around fighting. But let's start from the beginning. Character creation is actually not bad. I've played a lot of survival based games like Conan Exiles, etc., and sometimes those survival games can be a little bit bland when it comes to characterization, but in Frozen Flame, it's actually, I feel like it's the art style, the artwork of Frozen Flame. I feel like that plays a big part in this character creation, and especially with it being a co-op game, every character would completely different right from the get-go without armor, gear, anything of that nature. Have an ostensibly new character and make them look pretty unique to your own build. Next I want to talk about is the entire world. Now the world is very colorful, very vibrant. That would be kind of the first thing most people would notice when playing this game, is just like how colorful this world is. It gives you a Dauntless vibes, and if anybody who has played Dauntless or seen any type of cartoon-ish type of games like Overwatch, that art style is amazing and it fits Frozen Flame very well to the T, from the enemies to the NPCs to just the entire world around you. It fits that bill. Mwah, chef's kiss. Now, like I said earlier about the entire story of Frozen Flame, you need to craft resources and gather stuff as much as you can. So you need basically and the crafting is in the game. Crafting is a little bit weird. So crafting is like your normal chop down wood, mine down rocks, whatever the case may be. Get your minerals. Get the minerals that you need. But I feel like the crafting can do some work, because like I had a problem with setting up my workbench, and I set up my entire floor, got my construction core, and did all that good stuff, and I still couldn't set it down. So I don't know if it's a specific step you need to do with the house. Like, does the house have to be fully built all the way around in order for it to work, or what exactly can it be? Without building, there's a lot of stuff that you need to take in, from following the main quest line, grabbing the 4 different masks that you'll need, and I don't believe in this demo you can get as far other than gathering the 4 masks, which this game is pretty difficult, which segues into the combat. The combat I feel like needs a lot of work. It's very stiff, it is not fluid whatsoever. There's not a way to lock on, which is very upsetting because I'm used to locking onto things. So kind of just facing towards the enemy and just praying to God I stay face to him is very mind-boggling. When it comes to attacking animations, it needs a lot of work. Like this fighting feels very stiff, especially when you come across multiple enemies, which you will. It's very hard to aggro one without bringing the rest. Or sometimes you can just have a one-on-one fight, but most of the time you will end up dead. In my specific playthrough, I got stuck with fighting with my axe, and it takes you quite some time before you can build up an actual legitimate weapon. So most of my playthrough I literally was fighting with the axe. Now, I feel like there should be some type of ramp up or a better way when the game comes out, a better way of actually creating weapons, like your base weapons from your wooden swords to your copper iron. Like, if we're doing it like that, then yes. But no, I had to go buy a blueprint from somebody to be able to build the weapon, but I couldn't build the weapon because I didn't have a workbench. And how do you get a workbench? You got to build a construction core. And this is where I started having a lot of problems with the building aspect of the game, and it got very upsetting because I couldn't place down my workbench. I already built it. I had it in my shelter, everything of that nature, and it wouldn't let me. It was saying I was either too close to the construction core, which basically houses the building aspect, and there was just so many things that I feel like that needs to be worked on. Even something like V-Rising, when you play V-Rising, you could set up an entire house, but it doesn't matter. Once you have an area that is technically yours, you can put anything there. Now in Frozen Flame, that wasn't the case, so I basically was halted a lot by this workbench that I needed to be able to fight the boss, my first boss of the game. I ended up having to fight the first boss of the game with the axe. Didn't work out great at all. But there are some cool things about this game, like, oh, I was chopping down pots and I came across a mimic, which is a huge staple in a lot of RPG games, so it's definitely a great callback to see that in this game. From my first few hours of playing Frozen Flame, it was essentially just getting my bearings right, doing a couple quests, doing a couple rituals, and upgrading my character. There is a skill tree though that you can pray at, and you can choose between 3 main abilities, whether it's warrior, mage, or a bowman, and from there you can basically allocate your skill points to create a badass character. I chose the warrior because sometimes I can play dexterity, but I didn't really mess with. I was gonna do mage, but I haven't even got to the point where I could even use any mage abilities, so I just did what was the easiest thing for something you can get right from the get-go, which was using swords, great axes, white-handers, all that good stuff, like the two-handed weapons. That seemed very easy because in my first few playthrough, I didn't have no access to bows or any staffs. So it would have just put myself at a disadvantage if I would have chose those 2 skills. Which, like I said, this is just a demo. This is just my first impressions on my playthrough of the demo. I just hope by the time the game actually comes out on early access or a full-blown launch, that a lot of things that I was discovering or going through has changed. Especially, this game can be amazing if they can fix the combat or at least make it a little bit more fluid or easier to handle multiple enemies, because this is a survival RPG where you'll be fighting multiple enemies. I loved how V-Rising, how you can be able to handle multiple enemies in a better way, and it's a top-down isometric view. In this case, in Frozen Flame, you have a third-person over-the-shoulder type of fighting style. So it should definitely be a little bit more fluid when it comes to playing this game. I want to just talk about my last few thoughts about it. Is the game is highly difficult, especially with the aforementioned things I just mentioned. You have a long journey ahead of you before you beat the game. Building definitely needs some work in almost every aspect, like from, I don't know what needs to be fixed, but placing things down that needs to be placed down and I can't place it down because the game's telling me something and it looked like a weird error code when it comes to, like, it just didn't make any sense at all. So I kind of just been playing without a workbench, which is the biggest staple in all of any survival ARPG. It's just the workbench gets built first. No, that's not the case in this, and that is like my biggest con about Frozen Flame. That needs to be a thing. Especially, I've been stuck with an axe this entire time. I haven't had no ramp up to getting my pickaxe, my regular axe, sword. Like, I have no base materials. Like, I just started off literally with nothing, and I've only had an axe to be able to fight with. Other than that, that was today's episode of Frozen Flame. Let me know in the comment section, would you guys be playing Frozen Flame? It is currently out right now on Steam as a demo, so definitely hop on right on it. If you guys enjoyed the video, definitely hit like. If you want to subscribe for more RPG stuff, then definitely subscribe to Chaotic Inc. And as always, it's been your host, KSD TV, here at Chaotic Inc., signing out. Peace.
Manifest. I don't sleep, that's so weak, don't plan to rest. I'm from a hood where you die if you don't pack a vest. No culinary degrees, but whipping crack the best. Chefing, hard times taught lessons. Praying every night to pull up in park Benzes. What's my home is what you call trenches. You wouldn't last a day seeing life through all lenses. It's all tension, no sun and rain and plenty. Full-time job, still can never make a penny. I ain't